Hi, my name is Owen Baillie. I'm from Point Breeze on the East End, and I'm an accounting major at Penn State main campus, where I'll be a senior in the fall. And this is my pet peeve speech. So, my pet peeve is consumerist Americans' excess. So, something that really bothers me, that I would describe as a pet peeve of mine, is the consumerist lifestyle that's lived here in America, and just the excess of it and how it creates clutter. That really, it kind of bothers me. So now what really annoys me is not so much when somebody buys a $50 t-shirt when they could buy a $10 t-shirt that would do the same function. What really bothers me is when they own 45, 50 t-shirts when they could get away with just owning 14. So you're doing laundry every 2 weeks. It's the excess of it. How we just keep accumulating stuff. That's what gets under my skin. So I have a Bezos quote for you. What consumerism really is, at its worst, is getting people to buy things that don't actually improve their lives. That's Jeff Bezos, the Amazon guy. So I first realized that this was a pet peeve of mine, and that my lifestyle could get better from trying to contain my consumerism. When I started packing to go away to school, I guess 3 summers ago now. So I had to move my life from my home in the East End to Penn State in my new dorm room, and my dorm was going to be small, and I wasn't really going to have as much space to keep my stuff as I did at home. So I had to go through my stuff and really start to look through what was important to me, what I needed, what I actually used, and I thought this was a great exercise. And I kind of took it further and said, what's the minimum I can bring up to make packing the easiest, and what can I get rid of that I don't use at all? And it really helped out, because so I ended up moving almost all of my stuff out, or getting rid of it, or putting it in my closet at home so that it all fit in there. And the stuff I brought up to school, it all fit in the dorm room really easily. And what it did is my parents actually hosted an exchange student the following year, and they were able to stay in my room because I had cleared it out and reduced the clutter, which was really good. And I just feel like I have a clearer mind now, and I have a better understanding of what my life is and what I own, and a better appreciation for everything in it, because I've reduced this clutter and I'm not buying new stuff all the time. So yeah. So American consumerism really became a lifestyle thing, that the way it is that we participate in it now after World War II, when the soldiers came back and all the GI Bills, and people started moving out to the suburbs. And what the suburbs allowed then was so that you had a bigger house with space for your own appliances and your own car, your own lawn, and all this space. It's easy to fill up space once you have it. So people started to buy things and accumulate things in a way that they hadn't in the past, and that's how it's really gotten started here in America. So it's kind of, since it's happened in the 1940s, it's kind of become a deep-rooted issue for us as a culture. It's very commonplace for us to own too much stuff, and we also our philosophy on owning things is do I have space for it, or do I want it, rather than do I need it, and should I own it? Is it worth owning? So this can be a tough thing to stop. So I have some suggestions for you on how you can fix your consumerism and maybe make it less of a pet peeve of mine. So the first thing I would say is stop buying things you don't need. Let's do a ceasefire on this whole thing. And if you do, feel the need to spend, I'd encourage you to spend on something that's perishable, like a nice meal or an experience. That way you're not accumulating something. But really try and just stop buying things. Just to say, what what do I need instead of could I have this? Then get rid of everything. The second thing is get rid of everything you don't use. So purge everything you don't use. And two things that I think are really easy to purge that accumulate quickly are books and clothes. And you can give clothes to Goodwill, and it's really easy. And books you can almost always donate to the library if they're in good condition. So yeah, those are easy to get rid of. So this is my third step, is to avoid ownership when possible. So the issue is that we often think that we need to own something when the thing we really need to do is use it. So, like for instance, when I went to prom, I didn't need to own a tuxedo. I just needed to be able to wear one on that night. So the solution was to rent it instead of own it, and this way I'm not accumulating things that I'm only going to use once. So this is something we should really think about and trying to avoid ownership when possible. And then when you're making purchases of tangible things, make sure it's in the act of replacement. So for instance, my phone, if I'm going to buy a new phone, I need to be recycling my old phone. This way I don't own two phones because I'm only going to use the one phone. So replace things that are tangible when you're making a purchase. So in my opinion, the best way for Americans to control their consumerism is to prevent the excesses and clutter and therefore better live within our means. And the ways to do this are to stop buying things you don't need, to purge things you don't use, and to avoid ownership when possible. And when making purchases of tangible things, make sure it's as an act of replacement. So I have one last quote from Ben Nicholson, who is a British artist, and he says the corruption of the American soul is consumerism, and I'd have to agree with that. So yeah, so thanks for listening to me. Maybe you could try some of these things. I think it could help, and it would save you some money and reduce the clutter in your life and prevent you from letting the consumerist ways of our culture really have the best of you. So thanks so much for listening to me. Bye-bye.